Welcome to our new Play Well podcast series that will explore the role of play through a variety of themes. My name is Marguerite Hunter-Blair and I am Chief Executive of Play Scotland, the national organisation for play. We work to support opportunities for children, young people and families to play together in their local community. This podcast is looking at how play supports families to get out and be active. Play can also support relationships between children and between families and their carers, which can result in strong support networks for parents and carers. To explore this, I will chat with Jane Brompton, Chief Executive of Early Years Scotland, about her experiences in providing support to families with young children in a variety of circumstances. Jane has a postgraduate certificate in early years education and has previously been a deputy head at St Philomena's Primary in Glasgow and a head teacher of Woodacre Nursery School. We are also delighted to hear from Clare Haughey, MSP, Minister for Children and Young People, about her thoughts on how play can help families recover from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Clare has worked as a mental health nurse, specialising in pregnant mothers and mums with a young baby, and has also been a clinical nurse manager. Clare was elected as MSP for Rutherglen in May 2016 and was previously a divisional convener in the public sector union Unison. First of all, I caught up with Jane Brompton at a recent play session, which was being run free for families in Glasgow's Queen's Park. We were delighted that these play sessions were being funded by the Scottish Government's Get Into Summer Play programme. So hello Jane, it's lovely to speak to you this morning about play. Yes. And how important it is for children and their families. And you're running this fantastic programme called Stay, Play and Learn. And what do you think the impact of this programme is on families' health and well-being?
Thanks Marguerite, lovely to meet you. Yes, we are delighted. The Stay, Play and Learn programme is just so successful, and it really does support parents and children playing and learning together. And we know that play is so natural for young children. It's just so innate and it's just something that they love doing. But sometimes for parents it might be, they might need some advice and some guidance about what kind of things can children play with, the types of play, especially outdoors. And we know from research there's so much evidence to demonstrate how beneficial physical play is outdoors. So for the likes of our Stay, Play and Learn sessions outdoors, we support the parents and the young children to play and learn together, and also the parents have that network of support as well. They're able to speak to other parents and get top tips and ideas. And in Early Years Scotland we very much support and encourage the use of natural objects, just getting outdoors in nature, feeling the benefits of being outdoors, and just demonstrating to the parents that you can use anything for play, and that the children use their own imagination, they make up their own games, and some of the items that we put out are just props for the children to jump off from, metaphorically speaking, and just make up their own games. So we know that our staff work with the parents and children, and they support them to sort of role model and give different ideas for parents. So as they come along to our sessions, they're building up a repertoire of ideas for play outdoors, play indoors. We want parents to have the confidence and the understanding of how their own child learns, but also the kind of things that they can see other children doing that they might want to support at home. And we know how much research talks about the impact of the home learning environment for young children, how impactful that is. So if the parents are coming along and learning new ideas and encouraged to then take that learning into the home and play more outside and be in nature on a wonderful day like today, then that can only be a good thing.
And one of the things I noticed being in this setting today is how relaxed the parents were. And I think it's giving parents permission to relax. It's very stressful being a parent, and sometimes just relaxing and letting children play and observe them at play and realise how connected they are with different objects helps to relax parents, because I think there's such a pressure to do everything and know everything. It's just not possible. And I think at this time in particular, it's so nice for parents to be able to come out and just relax.
Absolutely.
So I think the projects have been so well attended this year, haven't they?
They have, extremely well attended. We've had waiting lists, and the staff have thoroughly enjoyed the sessions as well. But you're right, I think after this 18 months of what we've all been through in society, we've had so many parents feeling isolated, children feeling isolated, not being able to go out to play in the normal way, not to able to meet family. So this has just been a joy for parents. And you're right, Marguerite, to enable parents to have the time to sit back and watch their child playing. In these busy lives that we all have, sometimes you just don't have that opportunity. So we encourage that. We encourage the parents to just sit back and not intervene right away and see where the child is leading the play. And I think that's so beneficial as well. But they've been well attended, and we just know, and we hear from the parents how important it is for them to meet other children and parents. So yes, we're delighted.
That's great. And I think the other thing you can see is children becoming quite resilient, when somebody else takes their toy away or somebody comes over and makes, a social approach. It's really nice to see how they respond to that.
That's right, absolutely. And some of the children, we talked about some of the babies today would have been born in lockdown, and they've maybe not had the experiences and the ability to develop their social and emotional skills. So that is wonderful for the parents to test that out with other children today in safe spaces like this.
Because we are social beings. I think we've had a very unsocial time of it. So play is definitely one of the main opportunities now, isn't it, for recovery?
It really is, and it's so important, and we know how beneficial it is for the children and for the parents as well. So it's a win-win.
Great. Thank you very much, Jane.
Thank you.
Next up, our Learning and Development Officer, Jenny Lester, has caught up with Charlotte Bowes.
So, hi Charlotte, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
And thank you so much for inviting me.
No problem at all. So it would be great if you could just introduce yourself and maybe say a little bit about what play means to you.
Of course. So I'm Charlotte Bowes. I'm a primary 2-1 teacher in Edinburgh. And my experience of play is that I have been lucky enough to teach primary 1 for the last 6 years now. And over that time, I've totally transformed my practice. Started off very traditional in my setup, and now I'm employing a more fully sort of play-based approach. And one sort of passion for me in terms of play is the aspects of family engagement and involvement. Over the years, I've seen, as I've learned more and more about play, I've seen how important it is to take families on that journey with us. So it became the focus for my master's dissertation initially, and is now the focus for my current research project, Sharing the Ambition, which has been funded by BERA and their BCF Curriculum Investigation Grant, with the aspiration of using play to bring families into their children's early years learning, and then to push play into family life as well.
That's great. This podcast, we're talking specifically about active play. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the benefits for children of active play.
Active play is great for the holistic development of the whole child. It's so important that it's included, obviously, in the Scottish Government's Shinari Well, and it's important for so many different reasons. Firstly, you've got the physical benefits, like developing fundamental movement skills and physical literacy, improving fitness, strength, balance, dexterity, coordination, and the general health, like helping to maintain a healthy weight, blood pressure, insulin levels. And then on the other side of things, there's the cognitive, social and emotional benefits that help children to make sense of and relate to the world around them. So not only does being active help children to regulate their mood, stress and anxiety, to improve general well-being, but it also helps them with their sense of self, with developing social skills, self-esteem and confidence. Another benefit I'd say, perhaps one of the most important, is that it's fun. Being outdoors and being active playing, it's all intrinsically motivating and engaging for children. An example would be, I was attending a training session with Greg Bottrell, where he asked all the practitioners there to think of an overwhelmingly happy memory from their childhood, and nearly every single person sort of an experience that they had outdoors, being active. In terms of the bigger picture of a child's development, we know just how crucial those first 5 years are, but it's also the time that they start to develop lifelong skills and habits, whether that's the gross and fine motor skills that they use for big movements, running, jumping, skipping, or the small movements like holding a pencil, tying their laces, right the way through to fostering that love for being active. And hopefully that's something that they will then carry on into adulthood. If you look at the Realising the Ambition, it talks about the 5 dimensions of child development, and active play really does hit them all.
You've now told us a lot about how important active play is, but we also know that when children go from nursery into primary one, it can sometimes feel like they're less active. So how can this transition be supported?
I think it really does depend on every school's individual context. Every setting, every teacher, every sort of member of staff is at a different stage of their play journey. Some are only just dipping a toe into play, whereas others have play fully embedded, not just in primary one, but even beyond and throughout the school. I think with Realising the Ambition, there's even more momentum for change, for sort of pushing play into schools, which is incredible. I mean, on social media, I feel electric sometimes, all the change that's happening. But there are still a lot of barriers that schools are finding, which do limit all types of play, not just active play. For example, there's staff shortages, lack of budget for resourcing, limited access to outdoor space, the general pressures of school, for example, the dichotomy between play and then standardised assessments. There can be a lot to contend with in primary one, which makes that vertical transition from nursery to P1 even bigger, even more of a jump up. So I'd say active play, well, play in any form, would definitely help this transition. And for me, the best place is always to start with the child. If you think about the success of nursery and ELC provision, it doesn't just come from play, it comes from the relationships, the nurturing ethos, the sense of belonging that children develop, love and care that they're shown. And those interactions, there's no reason that they can't continue into P1, regardless of any of those barriers to play. If you talk of the benefits that we've already spoken about in terms of how active play helps to reduce stress, lower anxiety, develop healthy sleeping and eating patterns, improve mood, strengthen social skills and friendships. All those things will help to counteract the negatives that are often associated with such big changes.
Fantastic. So those are a lot of benefits that children will gain through play in a holistic manner, but is there anything specifically about play that will support children's learning when they make that transition into primary school?
So for me, one of my favourite play quotes is the Vygotsky quote, "A child's greatest achievements are possible in play, achievements that will tomorrow become her basic level of reaction." And for me, that just sums up what play is. It provides children with those basic building blocks of learning that they need for academic success. And it gives them a chance to build connections between what they already know, what they're experiencing, and what they're learning. And it just sets them up for lifelong learning. An example might be play helps children to develop their imagination, which is a skill in itself and one that we as adults use throughout life, like solving a problem at work or visualising a book as we read. Play also helps children to develop a sense of right and wrong through play. It helps them to practice the skills that they need for social, emotional and behavioural development. They learn how to make friends, resolve conflicts, work as a team, share, take turns. Again, all skills that we use as adults throughout our whole life. Perhaps one of the most important things for me in terms of play and learning is that it empowers children, it gives them a voice, and it puts them in control of their own learning. They can learn from themselves, their environment, and others. And it feeds that natural curiosity that children have and that motivation to learn. There's the phrase that we're preparing children for jobs that don't even exist yet. And to me, that's what play does.
And speaking about your own practice, are there any specific tools or resources that you use to build active play into the school day?
For me, the best place to start is outside in nature and observing the children. You can often find it sometimes it's difficult to step back and give children the time, the space and the freedom to almost wallow in their play, as Tina Bruce would say. In the past, I've definitely been guilty of feeling the need to justify my role and jump in to question or narrate or just totally spoil the play, as it sometimes turns out. But when you take that step back, you wait and you watch. I'm always amazed every single time by the incredible play and learning that you can see. And for me, it's those observations are so crucial, and it's through them that we can ensure the learning environment, the spaces, interactions and the experiences are getting it right for every child. I think one of the best courses I've ever attended was Anna F. Graves' training on planning in the moment, which offered a lot of practical advice to ensure that my provision was authentically child-led and that we were truly meeting each learner at their level, that we're in tune with their strengths, their needs, their passions, their interests, and could go from there.
So I was just wondering, if a practitioner wanted to get involved with sharing the ambition or increasing the amount of play they have in their practice, how would they go about getting involved?
I'd say the first port of call for sharing the ambition is always Twitter. We are absolutely loving all the different contributions that practitioners from all over Scotland are making to the project. Our aim has always been to communicate the key messages of realising the ambition, but to families, and to include them in those play journeys that many schools and settings are embarking on, no matter what sort of stage you're at. We started with the needs and experiences of the Scottish families, parents, carers, guardians and children, to capture their voices with surveys and focus groups. And in response, we've created the Family Zone, which is an online resource to answer the 3 most commonly asked questions. Why is play important? What can play look like? And how can I play at home? So it is designed for families, but a lot of the feedback that we've received is that it's been very helpful for staff as well, in terms of understanding the rationale behind championing play, having examples of interactive play observations, and then ideas of how to inject more play into early years. We're currently working on a relaunch, which will be coming soon, with a progression of resources and lots of opportunities for settings to get involved. So definitely watch this space.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. This has been really fantastic. So I was just wondering if there was anything else you wanted to add in to tell people just how important this sort of work is and what we can expect to see from you in the future. But I suppose you've kind of answered that already, but I'll give you a chance to say anything else if you like.
Just that we're so lucky to be surrounded by so many passionate practitioners. And I would just say, get connecting with them all. Twitter has been absolutely career changing, really, in terms of my practice. So I would definitely recommend networking with all those amazing practitioners that are out there.
That's perfect. Thanks so much.
We were delighted that Clare Haughey, our Minister for Children and Young People, was able to attend our National Play Day celebrations as part of the Get Into Summer programme. Clare spoke about the importance of play as she made an exciting announcement and launched the Play Well Outdoors Pack.
Good morning everyone, and thank you for inviting me to join you in celebrating the National Play Day. Today, thousands of children and families will be out playing in communities and at local events across Scotland, celebrating Play Day, the National Day for Play. We know the benefits of outdoor learning, exercise and play for young children in terms of their health and well-being, physical and cognitive development. Our commitment to promoting play and its benefits meant that from the start of the pandemic, we prioritised play and continue to do so. Protecting Scotland's children's right to play was one of the key priorities for the Scottish Government during lockdown, and remains so as we now focus on how to support children and families in recovering from the impact of the pandemic. Our children and young people have faced and experienced significant disruption in all aspects of their lives as a result of COVID-19. It's impacted on their well-being, their education, their social connections. And they've told us that their mental health was a primary concern as a result of the pandemic, and that they need a range of activity to help them to reconnect with their peers and their friends. Our Get Into Summer campaign is backed by funding of £20 million to deliver a wide range of activities for children and young people and their families over the summer. ensuring that they are provided with opportunities to socialise, to play, and to reconnect with their local communities and environments. This will help children and young people to play outside, to be active, meet friends, and have fun in a COVID-safe way. I'd like to thank Play Scotland and Save the Children and the Beano for organising today's fantastic events, and I hope everyone enjoys the day and is encouraged to keep on playing. Thank you.
A huge thanks to the Minister for coming along to speak at this session. If you would like to learn more about the Playwell Outdoors Packs, or order packs for your setting, or for families you are working with, then please do get in touch with us by email at info@playscotland.org. Thank you for listening to the first episode of the Playwell podcast. Look out for our next episode on the usual podcast apps and on our Actify module. Join the conversation by following us on Twitter and using the hashtag PlaywellPodcast. And to find out more about Play Scotland, visit our website playscotland.org and follow us on Twitter @PlayScotland. Thanks for listening.